Welcome back to another explainer. Today we're diving into what is arguably one of the most baffling, highly documented, and, frankly, terrifying locations on the face of the Earth. We're unpacking the absolute enigma that is Skinwalker Ranch. So, if you're a focused learner who loves a good mystery, especially one where hard science literally collides head-on with the paranormal, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get right into it. I want you to just imagine this for a second. Really sit with it. What if a single Utah ranch actually hides portals to other dimensions, UFO crash sites, and shape-shifting monsters that curse anyone who digs too deep? I know, it totally sounds like the plot of a late-night horror movie, right? But the crazy thing is, these are the actual documented claims surrounding this very real piece of land.
Section 1, America's Nightmare Hotspot. To kind of ground ourselves in physical reality here, let's start with a number. 512. That's the exact acreage of this Utah property. We aren't talking about some massive, endless expanse of untamed wilderness. It's a relatively contained 512-acre patch of dirt, rock, and sagebrush that somehow, against all logic, serves as ground zero for an impossible variety of phenomena.
Okay, let's dive into this timeline, because the lore here isn't just some recent internet invention. Going all the way back to the 1600s, the local Ute tribe actively warned of witches in the area. Fast forward centuries later to 1994, and billionaire Robert Bigelow buys the ranch specifically to investigate these claims. Then we hit the Pentagon era. The US government actually steps in with a massive $22 million program called AAWSAP. And looking ahead to the 2026 updates from active investigations, bizarre events like drones just vanishing and GPS completely failing are still happening today.
Section 2, The Curse of the Skinwalker.
So, the native lore surrounding this specific region introduces us to a term, Yi na Lishi. This basically translates to taboo medicine men turned monsters. According to Navajo tradition, these are incredibly powerful witches who literally shed their human skin to become wolves or coyotes. And remember, since the 1600s, the local Utes have been warning people about these exact shape-shifting entities roaming the land. It's deeply ingrained.
And you know, it's not just ancient folklore. Look at these eyewitness encounters documented right on the ranch. We've got terrifying reports of bulletproof wolves just casually walking up to researchers, vanishing cowboys, deeply unsettling accounts of disembodied voices mimicking the exact voices of loved ones. Oh, and eyewitnesses claiming to see 7-foot hairy beasts that just shrug off bullets. Now, to be absolutely clear, we are framing these as eyewitness reports, not confirmed facts, but the sheer volume and terrifying consistency of these terrestrial claims, that's what really put this ranch on the map in the first place.
Section 3, Orbs, UFOs, and Mutilations.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the shift from ancient folklore to what honestly sounds like high-tech science fiction. Under the current ranch owner, Brandon Fugel, investigators have documented pilots reporting massive, completely silent crafts hovering overhead. They've actually caught glowing orbs on camera dancing around almost like fireflies. And perhaps the most disturbing detail? Reports of mid-air livestock mutilations seemingly executed via lasers. Yeah, lasers. This isn't just a bump in the night anymore. These are highly active, genuinely aggressive physical phenomena. And guys, it gets so much weirder when they decided to look underground. When Fugel's team drilled into the earth, they didn't just hit rock, they hit a 100-foot deep void. Literally a hole to nowhere. You kind of have to ask yourself at this point, is this just some bizarre geological coincidence? Or, as some of the investigators theorize, is it evidence of hidden underground bases? I mean, what could possibly be hiding down there?
Section 4, Billionaires and Pentagon Programs.
Consider this absolutely staggering quote. Radiation spikes and EM pulses match portal tech. That's not a line from a sci-fi novel. That is from Dr. Travis Taylor, an actual scientist from NASA who investigated the ranch. It's fascinating, really, seeing highly credentialed scientists using terminology like quantum rifts to try and rationally explain shape-shifting claims, because they're measuring actual physical radiation spikes and electromagnetic pulses in the exact spots where this bizarre activity is being reported. So the crucial point is this. The United States government took this seriously enough to open their checkbook. The Pentagon quietly funded a $22 million program called AAWSAP, specifically to study the phenomena at Skinwalker Ranch. They weren't just throwing taxpayer money at ghost stories, right? They were funding serious scientific inquiry into a location that seems to completely defy the laws of physics. And what those Pentagon-funded researchers discovered is deeply, deeply unsettling. They documented what's now known as the hitchhiker effect. This is a confirmed phenomenon among the investigative teams where poltergeist-like events and weird anomalies literally follow the witnesses home from the ranch. Just imagine that for a moment. You visit this 512-acre site, you experience something totally inexplicable, and then, whatever it is, stalks you back to your own house. It's a terrifying conclusion, especially coming from serious government-funded teams. And please, don't think of this as just some historical oddity. Skinwalker Ranch is highly active right now. Looking at the projected 2026 activity updates from ongoing investigations, teams are still battling these forces today. They're seeing modern drones completely vanish mid-flight, state-of-the-art GPS systems inexplicably failing across the board, and new, disturbing livestock mutilations are still being reported. This phenomenon, whatever it actually is adapting, and it is absolutely persisting.
Section 5. Portals or psyops. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive divide in how people interpret this ranch. On one hand, we've got the supernatural theories. Could this be extraterrestrial aliens using skinwalkers as guards? Are these ancient Anasazi portals to other dimensions, or maybe even demonic entities? But on the flip side, we have the skeptical theories. Some analysts argue this is nothing more than elaborate CIA psyops, a massive government cover-up, or a psychological experiment designed to test human perception. Now, as an explainer, we aren't taking sides here. We're just looking at how perfectly polarized these theories are. But one thing the sources agree on for sure, this ranch warps reality for pretty much whoever steps foot on it.
So I turn it over to you, the focused learner. Aliens? Demons? Portals? Psyops? What is your Skinwalker theory? Because whatever the real truth is, this 512-acre patch of Utah completely forces us to question the very limits of our reality. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and hey, who knows what portals await us next time?